It is time for NRCS Partyline today for your Wednesday. That would be May the 18th, 2022. NRCS Partyline brought to you by Wimmer Optician St. Cloud, Chiropractic Connection of St. Joseph. My name is Brad Melke. Good morning. We've got some partly cloudy skies, 61-hour temp according to our forecast today. Possibility of some showers, thunderstorms later on in the day. Otherwise, overall, more clouds than sun, up to 73 today, 47 tonight, partly cloudy, and then 68 tomorrow, more showers and another chance for some storms later in the day on Thursday. But for right now, it's 61 degrees. In studio with us from the Soil and Water Conservation District, we have Dennis Fuchs, Administrator, and from the Natural Resources Conservation Service, NRCS, District Conservationist, new to KASM Radio, Josh Bork. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
It's great to be here.
Dennis, first of all, how's Chris doing?
Chris is doing good. I just talked to him yesterday, and he's teleworking and has been down to Kansas to fill in the work down there for NRCS, and he's going to be doing that for a few more weeks, probably a total of 2 to 3 month detail.
Okay.
And he's going to still try to come back and do some stuff we got coming up here in June and show up at our board meeting on the 14th and try to double task. But Josh is filling in for him while he's been detailed. So he's filling in Chris's team lead role, and he's also covering the work at Benton.
Okay.
And out of Foley. And are you also doing your previous job at Isanti?
No, we had to cut that off. Just too much going on. But I'm counting the days for Chris to get back here so I can get back in the field and he can do the managing.
So you're from you're doing more of the Benton County side prior to being here?
Yeah, I recently got hired in Benton.
Sure.
Moved there in February, and then about a month and a half later, Chris dumped this on me. So
I love the term dumped. Huh?
He gave me the opportunity.
Yeah, no, that sounds better. There we go. That's what we get out there to the KASM listeners. Positive.
There's always opportunities in the government.
Josh, where were you originally before this area altogether?
Oh, I've worked in a few different offices. I was in Isanti County for about 14 years and did some training up in Bemidji and Marshall and kind of moved around. So I've seen a lot of the state and a lot of farms, but it's kind of getting closer to home.
Okay.
So slowly.
So Chris I'm going to Josh. When I get out of here, Josh is going to do my thing. He's going to take care of things for me.
There's only a few of us to pick from, so I think I just, the new guy on the team, so he's like, I'm going to give him an opportunity.
There you go. See? He's already improving with the different descriptive words there. All right.
And it wouldn't be as bad if we had all of the NRCS positions filled in Wade Park and throughout Minnesota, but we are still at a staffing shortfall, and we're hoping that we can get some more staff. And I talked to one of the NRCS area leads yesterday, and it sounded like they offer the position and then they don't want to take it.
Oh.
So I'm not sure if it's the area or if they have other opportunities that come up that they end up taking.
I was going to say, you're getting applications. You're getting people who want to.
Yeah, sounds like the applications are coming in, but they just haven't been taking the job.
They're just too young and too picky, or what?
Yeah.
That younger generation.
And the Fed's pay scale and pay schedule has been very stagnant as a lot of the increase in demand for workers. A lot of the salaries are also going up.
Okay.
So that could be part of it too, where the salaries just need to be adjusted to be competitive with other areas and other organizations. So we'll see what's going to happen there. But we definitely got a huge workload in Wade Park, and the SWCD staff and NRCS staff work as a team, and we got a big hole in our NRCS team right now, and it's been difficult for us to manage the workload.
To the point where less is getting done, or you're still managing?
Yep. Well, there's a couple things going on. We're getting things done, but also the amount of contracts that are actually getting funded is reduced too. So we spend a lot of time contracting and not as much time actually implementing projects. And we do have some other state funds available to help our landowners here in Stearns County. But we've been a little more focused on trying to get EQIP, the Environmental Quality Incentive Program, through NRCS, because 10 years ago that was our bread and butter program. Basically, anybody that came in the office, we could get them the conservation planning done and identify their resource concerns, and then use EQIP to help offset the costs of implementing either cover crops or residue, manure storage, nutrient management, irrigation water management. Now 1 out of 4 folks are getting funded, and it's a difficult process. And also, with the change in administration and change in some of the processes with NRCS, we're having staff getting signatures from our farmers multiple times because forms changed as we're going through the process. And Josh is shaking his head like, yep, I've seen it happen. In your career, you've seen that happen, and probably a little uptick, would you say now? With
the files and the paperwork have probably, just doubled. There's checklists for checklists now, but we do. I mean, it's all relevant. It's just a matter of building a relationship with somebody who's getting into one of these contracts. It's a lot to take on, and we got to have time. And we try to track them down in the spring when they're at their busiest time of year, and it makes it a challenge, and we need more people to accomplish that, is what it boils down to. But the work is always there, the interest is always there. It's just trying to get to everybody in a timely manner is a challenge when you're down multiple people in an office. So
the other thing is our lease is now at its end at Marketplace Mall, where we're located, and we're working on a lease extension, and we're hoping to do a 3-year lease extension so that we can continue to stay at Marketplace. And that's with the Farm Service Agency, NRCS, SWCD, all being co-located there. And that process is kind of nebulous how that moves forward, and we're not really sure where they're at with that extension, but we're trying to get additional information, and hopefully we'll be there for another 3 years and be able to keep our clients informed where we're located.
Safe to say an increase in the risk, or an increase in the lease, I guess, cost?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we lease directly to the building folks. We're kind of separate outside of the USDA, NRCS, and Farm Service Agency. Mm-hmm. And, we already heard that our rent will be going up once the lease is finalized. So, and it's substantial. It hasn't changed for about 10 years. So,
sure.
There's going to be some adjustments going on.
It's to be expected, kind of, it seems like.
Yes, exactly. And that's fine. I mean, you got to cover the cost of doing business and covering janitorial and electric and heating and cooling and parking lot, moving snow, sidewalks clean, all that fun stuff.
Okay. We got about 1 minute and 25 seconds. You want to talk about the tree pickup here quick before that?
Yes. We're going to have our tree pickup on Friday, May 20th. So folks that have ordered trees, this is when you pick them up. This is the only time that we distribute the trees, and that's going to be Friday, May 20th from 7:30 in the morning until 6 p.m., and that's going to be at the Rockville County Park Storage Building, and it's located at 11503 Glacier Road, Rockville, Minnesota, just north of Rockville. That's where the county storage is. We were there last year, so it's worked out really well. And they'll have signage posted up on how to approach the building. It's kind of a drive-through, and we'll load you up as you drive through. And we do have Nanberry and Black Walnut still available, so if you would like to get some of those trees, they're available in bundles of 25. And other than that, we're sold out, and then we will be taking tree orders again later this summer, early fall, and we'll let the listeners know when that's happening.
So you still need to have the order in place before you head over there?
Yes. Okay. Yep. Unless you just want it Nannyberry or Black Walnut, we still have those for sale. But all of our other tree stocks have sold. And just a reminder to listeners, tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but Friday, May 20th, 7:30 to 6 p.m. is the only time to pick them up.
Very good. More Answers Partyline coming up, 9:30 news time. It is KASM Radio. More Answers Partyline today on KASM Radio. In studio with us from the Soil and Water Conservation District, Dennis Fuchs. Also, we've got Josh Bork, District Conservationist from NRCS, joining us. With the weather adding a major wrench in the cog of soil and water conservation, how are you dealing with that stuff?
Yeah, we've witnessed a lot of areas out there that have some severe soil loss from soil erosion and deposition, and then also a lot of flooding. And now is a great time to reevaluate what you're using for management, and if there's an opportunity to leave more crop residues and or implement cover crops, this is a great time to visit our office. And if there's areas that we have concentrated flow, driving over here, we saw several fields that had some larger gullies that could really use a grassed waterway to send water from one end of the field to the other end of the field and protect your soil. And it's a great time to do that. What I would recommend is once you get done with all your spring field operations, hopefully you get everything planted, is to come into our office at Marketplace Mall and visit with us and get your name on the list. There's a lot of people that have problems, and we're not going to be able to get to them all. But we'd like to get a list started, and we can pursue some extra funding potentially for folks that would like to address these problems. And we do have a large a pot of state funds available throughout areas in the county that may be ready to go now. But then we also, if we have a list of farmers and landowners that are experiencing problems, that we can create a list and pursue more financial support to install these conservation practices like grass waterways, water and sediment basins. But we really are moving into a different direction now, where a lot of these problems can be greatly reduced or eliminated by using cover crops and crop residue management. So those are things that we really encourage, and there's incentive programs to help move you into that direction and take some of the risk of transitioning from a more conventional style of crop residue tillage management into leaving more residue on the surface. There's programs out there, and EQIP, I don't know if you know what the payment rates are for crop residue management off the top of your head, Josh.
Yeah, it varies year to year, probably anywhere from $10 to $15 for doing reduced tillage, and up to $30 to an acre to go more the route of strip till or no till. So there are a lot of incentives out there, and even changing up crop rotation or adding cover crops, those are all available in the program. We just got to start working with those folks sooner than later, so we can evaluate what is going on and what can be addressed, and kind of get some framework built up for a plan.
In these areas that we're seeing as we're driving across the county, and Josh has been covering Benton more so recently than Stearns, but he also was out toward Lake Traverse for the fishing opener and noticed that this is widespread all the way across Minnesota. There's problems with flooding and erosion, and I know that some folks will probably go out there this fall and just run a field cultivator across that gully and call her good. But what you're doing is reloading that gully with topsoil. You're ready to send it down the line again. This last time this happened was in 2014. We had a May storm event around the St. Martin area, and we had tremendous amount of soil movement and loss with that storm event. And the frequency of these storms is not getting any less. They seem to be happening every several years. Somewhere in Minnesota is getting pounded. And this year, a big chunk of Minnesota got pounded. And we really need to take the appropriate conservation practice and put it on the landscape to armor for future storm events. And we're here to help, and that's what we want to do, is make sure that if we have another event like this, that you don't lose your topsoil. And there's a study that was recently done looking at Minnesota Ag Water Quality certified farms. And in order to be Minnesota Ag Water Quality certified, you have to be following University of Minnesota fertilizer recommendations, which a lot of farmers are. If they're working with the co-op, they're in the ballpark. But one area that separates the people that get certified and the people that do not is the amount of crop residue. The folks getting certified are leaving a lot more crop residue, reducing the tillage passes, and conserving their soil. And what they're finding out is that those farmers have a higher profit, the ones that are certified, versus the ones that aren't. And that means you're reducing your costs by not making as many passes across the field. You have less field costs. You have less wear and tear on your equipment, your tractor, and you're putting those resources into better management. And this is a study that was done with how many farms was that? It was like 90-some farms they looked at, and they're continuing to build a bigger and bigger database. So it just goes to show that conservation pays. And I'll say that again, conservation pays, not only today, but for the future. It's so important to have soil health, and if you're losing your topsoil and sending it down the road ditch into the Sauk River, that's no good for anyone. Our downstream friends are also going to be experiencing problems now with probably excessive algae growth. As soon as it warms up in July, August, we'll probably see some real outbreaks of algae growth and maybe fish kills, and who knows what else this is going to cause. But we can be a little more proactive on solving these problems. And Josh, I don't know, have you seen similar problems in Benton County with some soil loss?
Yeah, it seems to be pretty widespread right now after this recent storm event. And I'm just thinking about profitability and $5 diesel fuel and trying to sell conservation. It kind of is painting a picture right now that less tillage, maybe lower inputs, and they're gonna see higher profits. It's just managing that. We still want to produce a crop. We still want to have good yields. It's trying to fit it all together. It's a process.
It is, and we've got staff in the office that work with many different types of farmers doing different types of operations. They have now gathered that information and experience and can share that with our farmers that would like to do additional conservation practices. We had a call from a couple of our folks that are really leaving a lot of residue, and they said they had minimal problems from this storm event. And I heard here in Albany they had 8.5 inches over the total week.
That's I would say close to that, if not right on. Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely helps, and it's some of these storm events. We're not going to solve all the problems, but we can definitely improve the situation. Flooding. If you got areas that are flooded on your fields, and it seems like consistently every few years they're getting flooded, and it's difficult to plant, and you can't do additional tile drainage because of wetland considerations. This might be an opportunity to come into the office and talk about signing up for the continuous CRP program, where these marginal areas are able to be put into a continuous program where you get paid 15-year rental payments to keep that out of crop production, and it provides you some income for taking that out of production. But it might save you money in the long run because you're not going out there using fuel, wear and tear on your tractor, and then the crop gets flooded out, and then you're back replanting, and then it gets flooded out again. So these are programs out there to help farmers manage their farm, and every farm is different. And we like to sit down with the farmers and see what we can do to help them manage their farm.
Do you find a major weather event or events like we've had is sometimes a wake-up call for farmers, or is it just something where they need to adjust their already in place plan?
Yeah, I think it is somewhat of a wake-up call. It seems like after the last storm event in 2014, we had a lot more folks come in and talk to us about crop residue, cover crops. I could use a grass waterway, and then it kind of decreased because we didn't have any major storm events for the last 8 years. And now this year we got pounded. And I think we definitely will see an uptick in farmers interested in some conservation practices. And I hope we do, that they come in the office and take advantage of the technical assistance that we can provide. And then we can pursue some financial assistance also.
And then, Josh mentioned, of course, diesel prices. You got all these other cost factors thrown into the mix that might say, okay, well, where do I put my priority?
Yeah.
And what do you say to that?
Well, and that's all part of conservation planning. We sit down and take a look at what they're currently doing. We take a look at their soil, the soil types, the slopes, if they have livestock, how they're handling the manure. There's all of these components, their crop rotation, and there's just a variety of things that go through the conservation planning process. And you do an inventory of what they have for resources, and then you review options with the farmer, alternatives, and then you implement the plan. And it's a great process. NRCS has been around for 80, 90 years, and it's a very effective way.
Let's get the folks to contact the office sooner than later so we can take a look at some of these things before the corn does get too tall or we can't get in the fields, and just start the process. We can take an application anytime. Usually the cutoff for EQIP is sometime in November, but the sooner we get in, can do some survey, some evaluation, some planning, that would be the best, sooner than later.
Okay.
Yeah, so usually the corn's knee-high by the 4th, and that's maybe not this year, who knows. But if we get some good growing weather, it can take off in a hurry. But it'd be nice to get out there before it gets over your head to do some conservation planning and take a look at the sites that were had a lot of damage from soil loss, and we can come up with a game plan. One thing I wanted to share with the listeners, too, is it is now time for folks to get on the ballot. They're running for SWCD supervisor. We do have 2 supervisors that are up for election in Stearns County, and that includes Chuck Upoff, and he covers Area 1, which are the townships of Ashley, Sauk Center, Melrose, Millwood, Raymond, Getty, Grove, and Oak, and also Tom Gregory, and he's down in Area 5, which is in the southeast portion of Stearns County, which includes St. Joe, St. Cloud, Rockville, St. Augusta, Linden, Fairhaven, and Maine Prairie. Both of those guys will be putting their names on the ballot, which I'm very excited about. We've got a great board of supervisors, and they help set the policy for what we should be working on in Stearns County and at the state, and then also try to influence the future farm bill, which we're hoping that we can see some increase in EQIP funding down the road. And if you're just wondering, what's a SWCD supervisor do? Well, first, soil water conservation districts are special units of state government, and our role is to manage natural resource programs. In Minnesota, there's about 90 SWCDs, and we cover the entire state except for Hennepin and Ramsey. And usually the SWCD's lines coincide with county lines. And supervisors typically are folks that are very concerned about the environment and the natural resources. And in Stearns County, we got a lot of agriculture. We're the number 1 county in Minnesota for dairy and also in farm receipts. So we got a tremendous amount of agriculture in the county. But we also have a lot of lakes. We got over 290 lakes in Stearns County. So it's a potent combination of potential soil movement into our lakes, and we want to make sure we keep that on our fields and maintaining healthy soils. And then our folks on the lakes also can enjoy better water quality, and the farmers can recreate on them too. Like myself, I like getting out on the lake, even though I don't live on one. I like fish with beer batter. Yeah, God, I like beer. Okay, so anyhow, sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. But we do have the elections, and actually all of the legislators will be up for re-election because the districts have been changed. The boundaries of where your legislative rep has been modified from the census. And everybody will be up for election this fall. And so keep your eyes open for the ballot, and you'll hopefully see Tom Gregory and Chuck Upoff on those ballots. And if you're ever interested in pursuing an SWCD supervisor election down the road, don't be afraid to give our office a call and give me a holler. And the phone number at the office is 320-251-7800. extension 3, and ask for Dennis Fuchs. That's me, and we can visit about becoming a future supervisor. One thing that we were trying to do is try to get a female on our board. It is extremely difficult to identify and find somebody that's got time to participate in what we do. People get so busy doing what they do that it's hard to get our board diversified. But that was something that I was hoping that we could accomplish in this task, this particular session, but I was not able to pull that off with Chuck.
How much time would you have to set aside for something like that?
I always
roughly.
I told the board members it's just one meeting a month. Well, it's a little bit more than that. On the average, it's probably closer to 2. And there's a significant amount of homework that you have to do in order to be prepared for board meetings, because we do cover a lot of different programs and policies. And then also there's outreach efforts and advocacy with our legislators, our county commissioners, our federal representatives and senators. So it's a couple days a month, basically, and there is a per diem for supervisors of $125, and the mileage is covered to get to and from meetings. Mm-hmm. But it's basically to just cover some of your costs for missing your job.
All right. I was going to ask this myself there, Dennis and Josh, but here's the deal. How does soil and water work with watershed districts? Are they connected? And I was going to ask, with this new all these weather events, does that increase your working together kind of plan?
Yes, we do. We work very, very closely with the Sauk Watershed District, the North Fork Watershed District, the Middle Fork Crow River Watershed District, and also the Clear River Watershed District. The Sauk Watershed District is also working with us on the Sauk One Watershed One Plan, and they are part of that plan along with the SWCDs and the counties on how we best manage the resources across and I'll just use the Sauk watershed as an example. How to best manage these resources across that area. We've identified areas where we need to target conservation, and we work very closely with the Watershed District on doing that. The Watershed District has different capabilities versus the Soil Water Conservation District. They have taxing authority and some land use authority, so they can require stormwater management permits, for example, for certain types of activities. They can help manage the judicial ditches, and in the Sauk watershed, they have control over most of the ditches that are judicial throughout the county, and they can provide also for big projects, capital improvement projects. They can generate funds to help implement that project. One of them that they're looking at is Getchell County Ditch 12, I think it is. And it's a very extensive drainage system that has had some problems, and they're exploring best ways to solve that problem. So with this flooding and this excessive rainfall, they're going to be busier looking at that. So we really have enhanced our partnership with the watershed districts. We do more one-on-one with farmers as toward conservation practices, the Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certification Program, making sure that the buffers adjacent to ditches meet the requirements of the state and the watershed district, and those types of activities. So it's much better than when I started 26 years ago, and so it's something that we continue to build on that partnership.
Who typically initiates what? Is it something where you initiate to them what needs to be done, or they talk to you, or is it kind of back and forth?
It depends on what the project is. If it's a capital improvement project, say they want to do a massive ditch renovation, that would be undertaken by the watershed district. If it's a farmer that's experiencing a gully that flows into a ditch, they would probably contact us. But if they contacted the watershed district would let us know that they got somebody here that could use some help.
Okay.
So it's a good partnership. A great question by the listener.
Backyard Habitat Program.
Yes. So the board recently approved a program for smaller sized acreage for pollinator and bee habitat that We'll be getting additional information out. So a lot of our farmers, they have access to programs if it's taking land out of production. We've got other areas in the county that are more rural vacant areas that range from 1/4 of an acre to 2 acres in size. And we've got some dollars available now to help assist with the planting of native seed and pollinator plants in these smaller areas. So if you're interested, or if you have an area that ranges in size from 1/4 of an acre to less than 2 acres, give our office a call, and we have some dollars available. Not a tremendous amount. We're hoping to get 15 projects potentially funded this summer and maybe planted yet this fall. So that's our backyard habitat program, and we're hoping to kick that off, and we'll have more information coming out here shortly. But I just wanted the listeners to get some of the first news. This is just passed last week by the SWCD board, so the listeners get the first tidbit here. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for listening to KASM Radio.
Minute and a half. What else do you want to cover, Dennis?
Well,
Anything else?
I think we covered. Oh, yes. I found one other item.
One more item.
Yes. Our 2021 annual report is now available on our website. So if you want to get to our website, just Google Stearns County SWCD. Or Soil and Water Stearns, and it'll pop up, and you'll see it right on the homepage there. Take a look at that 2021 annual report that's now available. I thought Brittany Lensmeyer on her staff did a fantastic job of pulling all the projects together that the other staff have accomplished, and it's just a nicely done report. We also have a quarterly newsletter. There's an opportunity to sign up for that on our website. The spring newsletter just went out last week, so that also is available for your listeners to take a look at. And if there's any questions, there's also a little button on there to click. If you have a question for KASM Radio, put that in our website, and I will answer it the next time I'm online.
Are you still giving away something, or is that long
we
gone?
are giving baseball cap away,
Okay.
but
All right.
we haven't given away many.
Come on.
I don't know what's going on
here?
Come on, people. Get on our website and ask us a question. And we'll be online, back on radio, Thursday, July 7th. So it'll be 4th of July week, July 7th. We'll be back on KASM Radio with Brad. Hopefully Brad's here.
Should be, I think. We'll see what happens.
Not sure if it's going to be Josh or Chris, but Josh, thank you for joining us today and introducing yourself to the listeners, a former Paynesville kid. And thank you, Brad.
251-7800, extension 3.
Correct, sir.
Very good. Administrator Dennis Fuchs, SWCD, District Conservationist, Josh Bork, NRCS. Josh and Dennis, thanks again. It's 10 o'clock, not 1 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. We got some news headlines coming up. It is KASM Radio.
Who's here during this?